HawgSports.com. Actually, I need to start that over because I'm recording. What's up, everybody? This is Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. That's HawgSports.com. Today on the show, we'll talk football, basketball. We'll talk some recruiting stuff with Danny West. Not that there's a whole lot of stuff to talk about in recruiting, but want to get Danny's take on a few things with this coaching search, with Razorback football and some other things. Basketball's in full swing and a big game tonight against Georgia Tech. We'll talk about all that and more on Hawg Sports Live. So Barry Lunney Jr. met with the media today. This is his last game week podium press conference. He's got another press conference that he'll have on Tuesday, and then that's it until Friday. And who knows what's going to happen after that. I mean, obviously this staff is going to be broken up, pretty much let go right after that game, and it'll be up to the new head coach to decide if he wants to keep anybody on. I think a lot of people have made their case for Barry Lunney Jr. I mean, just talking with him today, you could see he got kind of emotional thinking about taking that bus ride down to Little Rock and riding the bus back and hopefully celebrating their first win in 19 tries in SEC games. But you could tell that idea kind of took him back because Arkansas usually flies or have been recently flying for that game. But with it being the last game of the season, a little bit different approach to it. So I think Arkansas's got the players to actually beat Missouri when you factor in a few things. So Missouri's lost 5 straight, okay, and they played Tennessee pretty close, 24-20, but they've lost 5 straight. And then you've got, the fact that it's going to be kind of rainy. It's supposed to be like 70 degrees. So maybe that's an environment they don't want to be in. They're not eligible for a bowl game because of the NCAA sanctions. So a lot of things like that play a role, okay, in their mindset. And I think about Arkansas's mindset going to Columbia last year, and they'd already let go of the rope at that point. But when Arkansas went there last year, it was just cold and rainy. You could just tell they didn't want to be there. So maybe you flip that around on Missouri. Quarterback situation is going to be very interesting because it's listed with KJ Jefferson or Nick Starkel or Jack Lindsey. I think it's going to be Jack Lindsey just because KJ and Starkel are in concussion protocol, as far as we know. They said they're going to be evaluated for concussions. So if that's the case, even though they're going to be out there probably practicing on Tuesday, possibly, well, today's Tuesday technically as far as a game week goes. So that doesn't mean that they're like cleared for contact, okay? So I think it's probably going to be Jack Lindsey who starts, who actually came in and played pretty well in the time that he was given. So the Battle Line rivalry. Arkansas hasn't won it in a while. Nobody on this team who, unless they redshirted that first year, they weren't eligible to play, has beaten Missouri, which is crazy. That's a crazy statistic that this group is winless against Missouri. So before we go any further, I want to remind everybody there's plenty of ways to watch and listen. You can always watch on Facebook Live. We're always streaming live here. Be sure to follow the page if you haven't done so already, and throw us a thumbs up if you like the content that we deliver. Also upload to YouTube immediately after this. So if you're not subscribed to the channel on YouTube, most of the people who watch the videos aren't subscribed. So go ahead and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you'll know anytime that we upload a new video, and throw us a thumbs up on the video if you like it. Available on Apple Podcasts, the #1 rated and reviewed show on Apple Podcasts right now, the most ratings and the highest rating also. So continue to support that. We love people to see Hawg Sports Live whenever they search Arkansas Razorbacks on Apple Podcasts, available on Spotify and Stitcher. So plenty of ways to watch and listen. iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, just about everywhere. Right now, you can sign up at Hawg Sports right now for 1 month. For your first $1 for your first month right now at HawgSports.com. Now, I've had a lot of people kind of chime in on this. A guy the other day on my YouTube channel said, he said, "Preach on, brother. If you had a collection plate, I'd put $20 in there." Well, my suggestion is sign up for the HawgSports.com special. $1 for your first month right now. It's not like, this isn't a donation or something you're really going to like. The reason we do all of this stuff is to promote the website. And I don't know if people realize that. I had a guy also on there say something to the effect of, it's obvious that you're just doing these to promote your show, which is obvious. I mean, so the way things set up here, I've got people blowing me up. The way things set up is it doesn't make sense for me to do this show. And I love doing the show. I love doing this show. But it doesn't make sense from a responsibility standpoint to the other 3 employees at HawgSports.com, to the people that I support in my life, if I'm just doing this show and not promoting the website. It doesn't, like, this show isn't paying for this studio. It's actually, it's a negative if you just look at it like doing the show. So we do the show. We do a lot of free content. We appreciate all the people who jump in on our free content. We certainly appreciate that. But if you really like what we do, then you should try it out right now. 1 month is $1 right now, or you can take 30% off your first year, HawgSports.com. So go sign up there now if you haven't done so already. If you like the other stuff we do on this show, on the Walk and Talk, on Drive Time, on Out of Bounds with Danny West, then sign up at HawgSports.com. All right, back into it now. Things are about to get really heated. Now, we've had a lot of tidbits drop yesterday, just some stuff about, just kind of what to expect moving forward in this coaching search, some stuff that we've heard behind the scenes with some of the candidates and stuff. I do think it's super interesting that Lane Kiffin is active on Twitter the way he is, responding in a tweet that was, directed at Hunter Yurachek a few days ago, and then Luther Campbell's tweeting some stuff about going to Arkansas with Lane Kiffin, and he laughs at the post and stuff. There's been some kind of interesting stuff. Kiffin has followed Jacoby Criswell, and I don't know if it's Jacoby Criswell who followed him first or the other way around, but that's certainly notable, an in-state Arkansas quarterback recruit. And then you've got, who else? He's followed Wes Moore from Fox 16 and 103.7 The Buzz. He's followed John Fagg, and him have followed each other, who's an associate athletic director at the University of Arkansas, who's assisting with this coaching search, and that's what he's done with Hunter Yurachek. So, that's interesting to say the least. I've heard people say that Kiffin isn't a serious candidate, and then, I've heard people say that maybe he is. And, Twitter, Kiffin likes to troll on Twitter. I don't think there's any mistake about that. He likes to troll on Twitter. But I think that's been interesting. It's been something fun, I guess, to kind of follow, because, when you bring up a lot of names, Razorback fans are very fickle, and Fickle's another one, Luke Fickle at Cincinnati, but they just, it's either 70% for or 70% against. It's like one or the other with all these coaches that you bring up out there. So I wanted to bring up a few names of guys that we haven't talked about much. Mike Gundy has been discussed before, back when Bielema was getting hired. Would that happen? I don't know. I don't know about that in this situation. Chris Kleinman at Kansas State. He's had success at Kansas State. They're 7-4 this year, but his real damage was done at North Dakota State, where his last season they went 15-1, won the FCS national championship 2 years in a row, 14-1 and 15-1. He won it in 2014 also. So he's had a pretty impressive career as a head coach, but doesn't have that SEC experience. Only 1 year coaching on the major college level. Bronco Mendenhall at Virginia. That's another guy. And again, these are just some names that people aren't talking about right now. And I've gone through every single Power 5 team trying to find anybody who might be even, kind of remotely interested. But Bronco Mendenhall had a lot of success at BYU and is having success at Virginia. They're 8-3 right now. Virginia isn't a program that's known for having a lot of success lately. Scott Satterfield, he's 7-4 at Louisville in his first year, did his damage at Appalachian State, but he's cleaned up a lot. They were a mess last year under Bobby Petrino. So Scott Satterfield, maybe that's another guy to watch. Dave Doran at NC State. He's only 4-7 this year, though. But he's done. He had back-to-back 9-win seasons at NC State. Again, I'm just saying these are guys that around Power 5 who are sitting head coaches that people just haven't really brought up a whole lot. Justin Fuente at Virginia Tech, 8-3 this year. He's got a 10-4 and a 9-4 record. Went 6-7 last year, but bounced back to 8-3 this year. He's from Tulsa. Pat Narduzzi at Pitt. He's probably done a little bit better. Probably about middle of the pack, what you'd expect at Pitt. But it's just another guy, just another guy to throw that name out. Neil Brown, he was involved. Neil Brown is the former Troy head coach who was involved in the coaching search last time that Hunter Yurachek was at Houston when he hired Major Applewhite. But this is a guy that went 10-3, 11-2, and 10-3 at Troy before taking the West Virginia job. He's 4-7 this year. That's not going to sit well with Arkansas fans because he's 4-7. All they're going to see is a 4-7. Doc Holliday. He's a little older guy. Marshall. Had a lot of success at Marshall over the year. He's probably been there for 12 years or something like that. 7-4 this year, went 9-4 last year. Jay Hobson, Southern Miss. Fairly average record over 4 years there. 7-4 this year. Chuck Martin at Miami, Ohio. Just pretty average record. Billy Napier has been discussed a little bit. 7-2 and 9-2 in back-to-back seasons at Louisiana. I mean, the thing that would be intriguing about him is he has coached at Alabama and has some time at in the SEC. Also was OC at Arizona State. I mentioned Neil Brown. So that's just a few guys that we haven't talked about in and around Power 5 that, in some capacity might have interest. Arkansas basketball, first big test, Georgia Tech. Excited about this game. Do you get the ACC network? I just checked a minute ago. I do get ACC network. This will be my first game, I guess, maybe even watching on ACC network. I had no idea if I had it or not. They played an exhibition game at Alabama this year and lost 93-65. You don't really see exhibition games against that caliber of opponent. They beat NC State 82-81 in overtime in their opener. Beat Elon 64-41 and lost at Georgia 82-78 on November 20th. So they haven't played a lot of games this year. They did spend some time in Spain playing overseas prior to the season, which Arkansas has done that kind of stuff in the past. But this is technically their second SEC game, but really it's their third. So their third crack at it. 6 o'clock on ACC Network at McCamish Pavilion in Atlanta, Georgia. The guys to watch out for, Michael Devo averages 18.8 points, 6'9" forward. What is he average on? 6.3 rebounds. And Moses Wright, 10.7 points a game, 7.7 rebounds. Those are a couple of guys to keep an eye on. Both 6'9" forwards. We got Northern Kentucky after that on November 30th, so a little bit of a break, 4 days in between games. And then it's Austin Peay on December 3rd, Western Kentucky on December 7th. Valpo and Little Rock on December 21. Danny West has got the Big Red Hoops recruiting board. Actually, I want to go ahead and get into Danny West. Where's my thing? There it is. All right. Where's Danny's graphic? All right, give me a second to get Danny West on the horn. So for those of you who don't know, Danny West covers recruiting for HawgSports.com. You should know that by now. Best recruiting man in the business. And he's been with us for over a decade now covering recruiting for HawgSports.com. Most of his stuff is VIP. So if you want to know what's going to happen, then you need the VIP membership. If you want to know what has happened, stuff out of press conferences, then check out all our free content and sign up for our newsletter where we'll deliver free content to your email inbox every morning.
Hello, sir.
Hey, Danny, who do you think is going to be the new Arkansas head coach?
Well, I was just hearing. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea.
It's that time. It's that time right now where you just, I think last week was a little bit calm before the storm, and we had some stuff come out right before. I guess on Sunday we had some stuff come out throughout the day here and there, tidbit type of stuff. It's a little bit of contract stuff, and some good discussion. But really, things ought to start heating up this week. And especially after this game Friday and Saturday, especially after that, then things will really, really be getting crazy.
Yeah, and like I said last week here on the show, I'm just looking forward to getting a guy in place and start following what they do in recruiting, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've talked about it. It's regardless of the date, whether it's December 1st, 3rd, 9th, whatever it might be, the time that they're going to have remaining is going to be just jam-packed all over the place, trying to hurry up and get to guys and get in those living rooms. And because, just a reminder, Trey, signing day coming up on that would be December 18th this year. Mm-hmm. So dead period starts on the 16th, 2 days prior to signing day. So really you're talking about, just as an example here, let's say December 2nd, Monday. Mm-hmm. Is the day of the hire. We don't know that, obviously, but we'll use that as the example. If that is, in fact, the case, you're looking at about, really 13 days that a coach can go out. If it's the following Monday on the 9th, you're down to 5 days. So, man, it's going to be hot and heavy.
Yeah, it is. Danny West joining us with HawgSports.com. So, Danny, I hope you've gotten well rested because, like you said, it is going to get crazy. As soon as this coach is hired, I can remember with Chad Morris, the next day after his announcement ceremony, he was going down and watching Traylon Burks practice, and that's probably what's going to happen with this coach. He's probably going to bring some coaches with him from, his current staff if he's a sitting head coach. And, what kind of mix will it be? Like, will Barry Lunny be retained and stuff like that? There's all kinds of stuff like that. So I hope you've gotten some rest because there's not going to be much of it coming up. I think you know that.
I'm ready, Trey. I'm ready for a new start. Hit the reset button. Yeah. I'm ready to talk to kids again. It gets tough to reach out to them at this point. You got 6 guys remaining. I mean, what do you want me to do? Call them every hour on the hour and say, "Hey, you still on board?"
Yeah, exactly.
Let me write another story on you.
That was tough on Garrett Hayes though today, committing to TCU. You were kind of hoping that maybe he would hold out a little bit longer and see who the next head coach is at Arkansas, but he went ahead and jumped on TCU.
I don't blame him. I mean, what do we expect at this point, man? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gotten ugly here at Arkansas, and that's a really talented kid. TCU made him a priority. I do think the advantage of being able to stay somewhat close to home. Understand he's had a girlfriend for ever since they were little kids, so I get it. He wants to stay close to home, and I'm with you. I'll be pulling for him either way, but he's not a guy that I could see, decommitting even if Traylor is kept. I think Garrett is the type that's going to honor his commitment. I really do.
Yeah, I see him as that kind of kid too. What do you think about this basketball game, Danny? I mean, it's an exciting time for Razorback basketball. Georgia, they've started off so strong, but they haven't really been tested. I mean, the last team they played was undefeated, but still not. I mean, this is their first major conference opponent, and it's on the road under Musselman, and everything's been, sunshine and rainbows so far. Everybody's, basically crowning Eric Musselman, and I'm right there too. I try not to let myself get too excited about anything when it comes to Arkansas sports, but what he has done so far, not just on the court, but behind the scenes, the things that he does, like breaking down film, showing a player like, hey, and all your other free throws that you made, you dribbled 3 times. Why'd you only dribble twice this time? And cutting up opponent footage, like just showing made baskets, never showing the opponent missing a shot, stuff. So the players really feel. And then you see, everything on court, like you can tell this is a team that gets it, that likes Musselman, that respects him. And you hope to find that for the football coach that they hire, but everything has been, super positive. But eventually. And I'm not saying it's going to be today, but eventually they're going to lose a game. And how's that going to go? When they hit a little bit of a slump, how are people going to react to that? Because it'll happen. I mean, nobody's going to go undefeated forever. So anyway, what are your thoughts so far on basketball?
Well, I tweeted out in the middle of Friday night's game. I said, "Boy, they sure get after it," and that tweet blew up. And it seems like everybody agrees and sees the same thing. But man, I love watching their energy. I'm like you. Eventually, they're going to run into an evenly matched team on the road. Could be tonight. I just saw John Rothstein's report that Alvarado for Georgia Tech will not be playing tonight.
Oh.
He's a guy that, that's a big one. He had 10 points, 7 assists in their last outing a few weeks ago. So really curious about this game tonight because, like you said there, Trey, you hate to look too far ahead, but you sit back and look at that schedule and you go, man, you win this one, you come back home for all those games against what should be lesser opponents. Now, there will be some good games there, but you've got a real shot at going into Christmas break at 11-0. And then out of that, 4 days later, you got to go to Indiana, who is also 5-0 to start. So, hey, it'd be really nice to rack up 10, 11 wins prior to Christmas break. I think that would be best case scenario for this team.
Cade Brooks says, why, by the way, somebody on here posted, why don't you ever talk basketball? So here we are talking basketball. And we'll get into a little bit of the Big Red Board also because you released that for hoops. But Cade Brooks says, why can we find and hire a solid basketball coach but fail to find and hire a solid football coach? Well, they haven't. I guess they did that with the last coach that was hired at Arkansas, but they haven't done that yet. So we can't say they haven't hired a solid football coach yet when they haven't done it. But with basketball, it's a little bit different because, first of all, there's 300 and something schools out there that compete on the main level, I guess, not Power 5, but compete on, at a high level, capable of beating anybody, a lot of times, as we see with the mid-majors out there. But, with basketball, I think that there is more of a tendency to be okay with this guy's been winning at this program. And a lot of times it's because basketball teams play other big-name programs and win. But I just think that there's a bigger pool of coaches out there to select from, that are having success. So you feel a little bit better with getting an Eric Musselman from Nevada, something like that. So I think that's a big part of it. I mean, with football, everybody's like, they're almost demanding a sitting Power 5 head coach who's had success at somewhere else, or nothing else is going to quench that thirst for Razorback fans. With basketball, I just feel like it's a little bit different. There's a bigger pool. You can get more. It's easier to get excited about, coaches, because there's more coaches out there that have had success that want to jump on a spot like Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas basketball, it may not have been on the elite level, but it's capable of getting there, and I think that's what a lot of coaches see.
Yeah, and you think about rosters too, Trey, just simple math. I mean, you're talking about 13 scholarship guys against 85.
Yep.
And, you can change those 13 rather quickly nowadays with all the transfers going around. We saw him bring in, 5 guys in the offseason. And you inherit a guy like Isaiah Joe, a veteran-type guy in Mason, and off and running you go, and still a little defense in them, change their mentality on the defensive end, and, man, you could change a team in a hurry in college basketball.
Yeah. You think they're going to make the NCAA tournament, Danny?
I do at this point. Now, I'm knocking on wood here, but I think teams that get after it that hard on defense are it's almost impossible to keep them out. I think they're elite defense at this point. We'll see if that translates now here a month from now into conference play, but so far, so good, man. I think they've got the right mentality on defense. They're going to run into some tough shooting nights, and it's going to cost them. They're going to lose some games.
They're going to be a big three-point shooting team, and when you're that, you're going to have off nights, and it's going to cost you sometimes. But I'm still staying cautiously optimistic on that. I think that they're some people have compared them to like Richardson's Runts, but I just wonder, take Adrio Bailey, for example. He's playing well overall. He's done some good things. He's showing a lot of hustle, leadership, all that stuff. But he's a 6'6" post player.
He is.
What's going to happen when he starts running into these 6'10", 6'11" guys that are really ultra talented?
Terry Blackshear down at Florida.
Yeah, exactly. What's going to happen when when that kind of stuff starts happening? When Arkansas's size really starts to show through. Are they going to be able to overcome that kind of stuff? So they're just not a very big team. So cautiously optimistic. I think that maybe they could overcome that, but I certainly like what they're doing so far. Nobody's scoring more than – what did they score the other night? 52? Or excuse me, 52, 55? Nobody's scored – they're the first one, I think, to top 50. Maybe the other team did. But nobody's topped 60 points, which I think is pretty impressive so far.
Yeah, they've given up 51 and 56 in the last
51 and 56, okay. Yeah, that's been pretty good. So, Big Red Hoops board, don't want to go into it too much. It's a VIP story on HawgSports.com. But let's talk about KK. Deciding here soon. You got to work on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, potentially. Right, we'll see. I mean, it's Arkansas or Kansas. I don't think we're giving away too much here, Trey. I think it's pretty cut and dry that KK is the last standing domino, if you will. And I will go back to this past Saturday, picking up Jalen Williams. I think a lot of people kind of assumed Arkansas would be the pick there, but I like that pickup. 6'9" guy that can play inside or outside. Now, he's not a finished, polished product by any means, but I think he's got a lot of tools to work with and can really be an offensive threat for you. Defensively, high motor. We talk about that with this current team. I think he's a guy that's going to fit that type of mentality. And I've seen him play. I think he can run the floor and get after loose balls and do all that. So big pickup there. That moves you to number 8 in the country right now. Who in the world can argue with that?
Yeah.
Crunching the numbers here, if they were to pick up KK Robinson on Thursday, and right now I've got them favored to do so. Now you're talking about number 5 recruiting class in the country, man. Now, if that doesn't excite you, move to Kentucky.
That does it for me. That does it for me, Danny. What about
that's big time.
For those who don't know, Danny's wife is a Kansas fan. Don't hold it against him, but she's from there, diehard Kansas fan. What does she think about KK? And what does Parker think? Have you asked Parker for her opinion?
I have not asked Parker.
Parker usually nails it.
Yeah.
How old is Parker?
She did tell me. She just turned 4.
Just turned 4.
I asked her a couple of weeks ago, who do you like better, the Razorbacks or the Jayhawks, and she said, "Which one's winning?" That's my girl.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's right.
Bandwagon girl. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see on Thursday, but I'll actually think I'll be in Kansas City for Thanksgiving, and maybe be able to rub that one in.
Yeah. Let's hope so. Anything else going on with hoops recruiting? I know football recruiting is pretty much just watching the decommit radar, but anything going on in anything else in basketball or football?
We had an update on Isaac McBride. I almost called him Isaiah like Coach Anderson there, but Isaac McBride last week, and he told me, straight up, I don't have an offer, so it's tough for me to say a whole lot about Arkansas at this point. So I just bring that up because a lot of people are still kind of wondering about Isaac. I could see them holding a spot. Technically they're going to be full if they get KK, but you would imagine another spot's going to come open. One of these guys will leave. And if so, Trey, I think you got to use that spot to try to get a little bit bigger. And so that's what I would anticipate after the first of the year sometime.
Yeah, they need height, you think?
Yeah, a little bit.
Nathan Post says, who is it that committed to TCU? I got on right after the name was said. It was Garrett Hayes, top 100 player, offensive lineman that Arkansas had been in for a while. So, all right, Danny, what do you think about this Missouri game? You think Arkansas's got a chance? I think they got if they will come together, and I've said before, I think that's been their whole problem. Not their whole problem. I hate when people always say, like, this is the problem. Like, that is just one thing. No, it's not that. It's this. Fix that. No, but one of their problems is this team. I hate to say it, but they and I'm not saying they should, like, if they showed a little heart, they would beat LSU. I'm not saying that, but they lack some heart. Okay, and I think that they came out with it and like wanted to fight for Barry Lundy Jr. in that last game, but eventually, it's just some bad habits. Things start going wrong, and it's just like, oh, here we go. That kind of mentality against Missouri, a team that's reeling themselves, coming down to Little Rock in War Memorial Stadium. Which why does War Memorial, why do you have a banner up for Missouri? There's a banner of Arkansas and a banner for Missouri, like it's a neutral, equal deal. No, there should be no Missouri stuff in there. Anyway, I hate that I had to say that kind of stuff. I need to be on the board or something eventually. When I retire, I need to be able to have a say in this kind of stuff. But in all seriousness, I just think it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. Yeah, it is. I just think it's an opportunity for these guys to say, hey, and Barry said it right, hey, this is Senior Day 2.0. This is our redo. Yeah. And I love some of the stuff Barry has said. It's so refreshing to actually get a coach up there who will talk and comment and not just like – it's almost like Chad was playing a game up there. How can I avoid every question? It just got so frustrating. There were times in the press conferences, you can't see the media in the press conference. There were times where I'd just be like, raising my arms up. I would literally that was the biggest softball question ever, and you found a way to avoid it. So, anyway, you think they got a shot against Missouri? You think they can pull it together?
I do, man, but Lord knows.
I know. I'm not picking. I'm not picking them to beat Missouri.
I'm not going to pick them, but Missouri, man, they're kind of a confusing deal in themselves. Really tough against the run, really good on third downs defensively, but that's probably what this comes down to. Can Rakeem Boyd have a big enough day to spark that offense? I mean, you worry about the quarterback position. Breaking news: Arkansas is worried about the quarterback position, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to come down to that running game. I'll tell you something you may have never heard anyone say before, Trey.
Okay.
TJ Hammonds needs to touch the ball more.
Yeah.
I mean he's getting it done.
Little Rock guy.
So, yeah, Little Rock guy. I'd throw him out there. I'd give him 5-10 touches, whatever. But
yeah.
The surprising part to me, going back to Missouri, I think when you bring in a Kelly Bryant, based on the offensive numbers that they had been having, I'm surprised that they're 91st in total offense, 87th in scoring. They've just not been very good offensively, and you're going to the final game here, and they've lost 5 straight games. Mm-hmm. You do have to wonder where they're at from a mental standpoint. They're coming in a little bit cracked too. So, yeah, I think the key is another solid start. If you get out of the gates, maybe they do hold on into this one. Into halftime, then come out and make a real game out of it in the second half. But I'm with Coach Lunny, man. I think a lot of people will show up out there in the parking lot. Get inside, man. Get
show
inside
up for this
go
one.
to the game. Yeah, show up.
Show Barry Lunny had some great moments in Little Rock as a player. Show up to this game. If you got a ticket, I know there's going to be a lot of people that want to sit out there and tailgate, and I get it. It's fun. It's fun out there. But, man, it can be – I thought it was a great environment last time, even though the rain came and, you know, for that Ole Miss game, I thought it was a great environment in War Memorial Stadium. But, I mean, I think they got a chance to do something here if they can really get the crowd in just to kind of forget and just like, hey, let's, you know, these seniors' last game. I know they haven't done a whole lot in their career here, but this is a chance for the streak to end. It really is, and it's a 70% chance of rain. Barry Lunny said ponchos are cheap. Go get you a poncho or a trash bag, something. Sit in the stands in a trash bag with duct tape. Just get in there. Just get in there and support these guys for one last game. Barry Lunny Jr. And who knows, it might be Barry's last time to roam the sidelines for Arkansas, you know.
Well, I'd hate that.
I would too.
I'd hate that. I'm pulling for that guy, you know, whatever happens. But I feel for him, Trey. I really do. You and I have known this guy forever.
Yeah.
And he's such a good man that you can't help but pull for him in this spot because, man, he was thrown into a really tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, go get him, Barry.
Yeah, Barry doesn't have any. Barry didn't have any head coaching experience. You know, yeah. I mean, like at high school, he was always he was a coordinator for his dad at Tulsa. Where else was he at? He was at Tulsa, maybe somewhere else as an assistant coach. San Jose State with Fitz Hill. Yeah. So he's always been he's always been an assistant. So this is his first time roaming the sidelines, which is why, I mean, Barry's not. You know, he's not a candidate for this head coaching job, but
so I'm getting after the ref the other night. I loved it.
Yeah. Barry, like I said, I've always liked Barry. I mean, he will actually tell you what he thinks, and for that alone, I'm appreciative of him because he just gets so tired of listening to the same old stuff. You got anything else you want to share, Danny, before we let you go?
Not much on the recruiting, football recruiting front, Trey. I wish I had more. I did hear. I actually watched Coach Lenny's press conference today live on the SEC Plus Network Plus. I didn't even know I was able to do that, but I stumbled on it and found that thing. And my point is, I liked what he said about the in-state recruiting and whoever takes over here. There's going to be guys that you can start to build around. And I don't want to speak for Coach, but I think it almost sounded to me like there's still some guys in this state that are currently committed elsewhere to go outside the state that. Now, again, I'm not speaking for Coach, but I took that as Coach would probably come in here if it was up to Barry Lunny and offer a few of those guys. Yeah. And, you know, we can name them. Jacoby Criswell, Brandon Thomas, he's committed to Memphis. I mean, you got a Conway offensive lineman, Robert Scott committed to Ole Miss. Some of those guys can play here now. And so I'm going to be curious to sit back when this head coach is named and see how many of these guys get phone calls. Yeah,
I think Jacoby Criswell makes a lot of sense. By the way, before I let you go, what do you think of this Jacoby Criswell, Lane Kiffin following each other?
Well, I can tell you this. Jacoby told me that Lane Kiffin followed him first, so I think that's very interesting. So, you know, you do begin to wonder about Coach Kiffin and his trolling level of expertise. Now he's big time.
Yeah, there's no other coach in the country that trolls like he does.
Nobody would even think to do it.
No. I mean, he's the guy that exits the stadium, you know, when he was an OC at Alabama and puts his hat on the LSU kid, you know, just like, I mean, real life trolling, Twitter trolling, whatever. You know, I do think that Kiffin would bring a different, you know, a different vibe around, because, you know, Kiffin's kind of got a cool, you know, persona about him. You know, Chad was a little more of a, you know, Chad was a math major in college, you know, just nothing against math majors. Don't start sending me hate mail, but just a different level of cool, I guess you would say, that might resonate a little better with the players.
Cred,
yeah, some street cred. Yeah. All right, Danny. Appreciate you, man.
See ya.
All right, that's Danny West with HawgSports.com. One more time. We're going to go we'll go about 10 more minutes here. But before we do, I want to just remind you, sign up at HawgSports.com right now. Get your first month for $1. And that doesn't, I mean, Here's the deal. The coaching search is about to get really heated. There's a lot going on with the coaching search. So things are going to get really heated with that. That's going to be really fun, sifting through rumors and factual information, trying to shoot down rumors. All kinds of stuff going to be coming out. Everybody's got a source. It's really fun to follow a coaching search, which thank goodness for once at least we have something associated with football that's going to be fun to cover aside from just, recruiting. There's been some good moments there too. But when this coaching staff is hired, this is when Danny West starts to shine, and I've seen it in years past, but recruiting becomes such a big priority for the staff because they have such a small window before the early signing period, and then you hit another wave of recruiting after that. So that's when Danny West really shines. We're kind of letting him get rested up, like literally letting him get rested up because we know what's coming for him. So if you want to get the best in Razorback recruiting, follow this coaching search. Sign up right now. There's no promo code or anything. Just sign up, HawgSports.com. It's $1 for your first month, or you can sign up for a year, take 30% off your first year, and get a 7-day free trial with that. So, pretty much nothing to lose. So, plenty of ways to watch and listen. Facebook Live, YouTube. Be sure to follow the page if you haven't done so. If you're on YouTube, then subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, throw us a thumbs up on both of those channels. Also available on Apple Podcasts. Throw us a 5-star review. Say something nice if you like the content. Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, anywhere you can find to listen. All right. Donnie A. Butt says, go give the pep talk, Trey. I think I could give pep talks. I have a tendency to think I'm going into stuff calm, and then I just start getting more and more worked up, and then I just start going. I also have one of those faces, I think, that looks a little bit more happy or angry than I actually am, which is a good thing in some cases, I guess. Andrew Ingram says, what about D2 legend Todd Knight, Ouachita Baptist University? If they're going to explore a D2 guy, the guy that I like a lot is Mike Houston, who was at James Madison. I believe they won an FCS national championship the year before he left for East Carolina, but he hadn't done big things at East Carolina, and all people are going to see is that East Carolina record. But he did big things there. It's kind of like Kleinman at North Dakota State. Let's see. Brandon Burks, can you call my friend Jack McCormick a dummy? Jared McCormick a dummy. Jared McCormick, you dummy. From Brandon Burks. Lynn Fryer, we have a chance to do the same thing LSU has done with Coach O and his young guns. Isn't that the safest way to go? Are you talking about going like with Lunny, or are you talking about going with Pittman? Because I've heard a lot of people talk about going that angle with Sam Pittman, which I don't think is the worst idea ever, because Pittman kind of brings that different persona too. He's going to get the offensive line turned around in a hurry. Now, maybe not 1 year, but by his second year, I would expect him to have that offensive line turned around that fast. And Pittman, as I've said before, is not a guy, he's not a guy who just outworks people and stuff like that. He just has a certain charm. People like him, and he's smart, and he knows football, and people respect him. So he's got a lot of things like that going for him. And I think a lot of that would translate into being a head coach too. Sam Pittman. Get Sam Pittman and great coordinators. That's the LSU formula, Lynn Fryer. Michael Lynch says, no, Lynn, don't be naive. We didn't have half the talent at LSU when Ed took over. It's true. Ed Orgeron has taken them to another level, but Ed Orgeron is a stout recruiter, which Sam Pittman is a stout recruiter. Let's see. Tamara Inman Bowling says, I will be there. Go Hogs. John Oliver says, Osaboyan, he transferred out, not in. Yeah, Gabe Osaboyan transferred out, got immediate eligibility. I don't know if he was going to be returning to Arkansas under any circumstances. Weird situation. There's just no rhyme or reason or consistency with the NCAA. And I'm sure that they would come out and say, well, look at, this is what we have. This is how we do it. But it just seems, the NCAA, there's not many organizations. I guess there's plenty of them, but they are just constantly criticized for not making any sense. Hey, Kirk Sorrells. Matthew Cromer says, why is TJ Hammons not the backup running back? He's the only other dude that gets positive yards after Boyd. I think that Hammons could warrant some more action, and maybe that's something that Barry Lunny sees. because he did get a little bit of action the other night. I think that Hammonds could end up playing a pretty good role for him next year. If he, like this year he was suspended for the first 4 games, I think, wasn't with the team in the spring. So if he can stay healthy, stay with the team, all this time, because also health has been an issue for him throughout his career, then, Dewa is going to be gone. I think there's a chance that Rakeem Boyd goes pro also. Might be an opportunity for TJ Hammonds and Traylon Smith. Robbie Goodman says, how many people, I'm not sure what that says, were red shirt. Sorry. Any transfer rumors? No any transfer rumors right now. I think most people are going to want to see who the coach is. Ashton Collar says, can you give your input on Arkansas baseball? Arkansas baseball's good. They're a good program. So, Ashton, you're not going to hear me talk much about baseball. We leave that up to my man Pete Roulier, which we'll have, him in a lot when it's baseball season. But, yeah, I just don't cover. But I try to do – I don't want to say I do one thing well, because I really try to be a multi-tool person. Like all these graphics, this isn't a program or anything. I designed all of these things. I do all the photography, all the artwork, all the publishing, a lot of the writing. Try to do a little bit of everything for the website. You kind of got to have to be, in this day, as a journalist, to run a website like this, you have to be multi-tooled person. And that's what I try to be. But I would say that my expertise is definitely on football. I love Razorback basketball also. I couldn't say that I'm like more knowledgeable than some people out there, and especially in recruiting, where Danny does more, the recruiting stuff in basketball, and I've helped in football recruiting. But my main thing is, in order, would be football, basketball, and then I don't even know if I would put baseball in there, because Pete handles all our baseball stuff. Patrick Champion says, Ben signed up for about 6 months. Appreciate you, Patrick. You're gonna enjoy it. The message board is fantastic. It's the newest state-of-the-art message board that there is. Where is my phone? Oh, here it is. I could show it to you right now. I love the dark mode feature. So, and I'm talking like anywhere. There's the Razor's Edge forum, dark mode. Easy on the eyes, or you can go back to original mode. This is the original mode, a lot brighter, obviously. But anyway, it's there's notifications anytime somebody replies to you or somebody mentions you, you get a notification. It's real easy to follow, real easy to pick up where you left off. I mean, everything about it, there's not a single complaint that I have. And I was there the whole time when we were beta testing, implementing new things, new ideas. So, and they really took into account what I wanted, and I was just voicing the opinion of our users of what they wanted in a message board. And I feel like we have nailed it on this thing. Since we moved over to 24/7 Sports 18 months ago, they have redone the entire website. When we first moved, everybody was like, "What? This needs update. This site, this is old. All this stuff. Why did y'all move?" And it's because I knew the things that we had planned with CBS and having the merger with Scout and all of this stuff. Just some big-time plans from these guys, and there's more stuff coming down the pipe too. Sign up at HawgSports.com right now. Again, HawgSports.com. Follow this coaching search with us. You'll be glad you did, I promise. James McIntyre says, why is nobody talking about Gene Chizik? It's a good question. I mean, Gene Chizik catches a pretty bad rap. He had, he's won a national championship. It's almost like Nolan. Nolan got fired, and then nobody else gave him a shot. And same way with Gene Chizik. Got fired, won a national championship, got fired a couple of years later, and nobody's giving him a shot. Jack Del Rio, I think, is somebody to keep an eye on too, but not a lot of coaching experience in college, if any. Matt Campbell or Drinkowitz for me, says Cedric Hurd. Drinkowitz doesn't have enough experience, I don't think, but maybe I could see Drinkowitz down the line, years from now as a possibility from this area, coached under Malzahn. Matt Campbell, to me, is a home run. But people still find fault. He doesn't have SEC experience. People still find fault. There's not a coach out there who's going to check every box for you. There's just not. So what you need to be concerned with is a guy that's a proven winner. And Matt Campbell has proven at 2 different places that he can win. Matt Worley says, is tonight's game on ACC Network? It is at 6 o'clock, ACC Network. I think that comes with DirecTV. I know it comes with YouTube TV. Kiffin will come in, goal to beat Bama, you can beat anyone. There was also a poster on here a minute ago who mentioned, I guess he was replying to somebody because somebody said something to the effect of, so if so-and-so comes, he'll just use it as a stepping stone for another job. I mean, that's not the best news I ever heard, but come and do it. Come use this as a stepping stone to a better job. If you use this as a stepping stone, that means you got this place back in order, okay? So, yeah, do it. Turn things around here and then go get another job if you want. I mean, that's not the ideal thing, but it at least means that you got things squared away. All right, everybody. I think we pretty much did it, didn't we? Yeah, we've done it. We pretty much covered it. Basketball game's going to be interesting. Again, one more time, I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank Danny West for joining us. Be sure to throw us a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Plenty of ways to watch and listen, as we all know. Sign up for 1 month for $1 at HawgSports.com. No promo code needed. None of that. Just sign up at HawgSports.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, and you will get the deal, whether you select the yearly option for 30% off or the monthly for $1 for your first month. All right. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, and we'll catch you next time.